Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
Today's episode is brought to you by Cars.com. With over 2 million vehicles and 50,000 more added every day, Cars.com will match you with the perfect car for you, your budget, your life, your style. And if you're ready to say goodbye to your current car, Cars.com will get you an instant offer to cash it in. Just start by entering your license plate and get matched with a local dealer who will write you the check. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, just go to Cars.com. It's magical.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Women's Hoops and Talks, where we are elevating the voice of women in basketball. I am Tara, and I have two co-hosts with me today. I'm very excited to be joining us for the second time, the newest Blazers outsider, Alex Haigh. Alex, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Now, the last time we talked, I said that I needed to get you on the show before you got famous, and now tell us what has happened.
Yeah, that was a weird coinkydink, wasn't it? Well, I'm definitely not famous, so let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. But basically, I got an opportunity to audition for the newest cast of Blazers Outsiders on a recommendation from Brooke Olzendam herself. And I'm so thankful to her. If she's listening here, thank you so much again, Brooke, for shouting me out. And so that's starting Wednesday. Well, actually, my official show is October 19th, Friday, the day after the Lakers home opener.
Awesome. Super excited to see you well, I guess it'll be on the big screen or the little screen. Although, yeah, my screen is not very big, but I could go somewhere and we could watch it on a giant screen and it would be like on the big screen.
It's going to be on NBC Sports Northwest at 7 on non-game days. And there's also going to be streaming live on Facebook.
Excellent. Well, thank you for stopping by the What podcast before you go on to bigger and better things. And we hope you'll come back even after you do get famous, because you will, because you're going to be so great.
Of course I will.
And also on the line and also returning for the second time is Cassidy Gemmet, the owner of the NBA fantasy team with the best name. She and I drafted our fantasy team last night. She is the owner of the I'm Trying Jennifer team. So welcome back, Cassidy.
So glad to be here.
I've become in one day one of those people who doesn't stop talking about my fantasy team. So you guys have to stop me.
I think I have also gained that as well.
It's just that it's new and exciting. Anyway, I'm really glad the two of you could be here today, and we have planned a preview of the Western Conference where we're going to go through team by team and talk about some of the things that have changed for some of the different teams. But as Trailblazer fans, we are actually still kind of in the middle of processing and digesting some really heavy news that came up today. Trailblazers owner Paul Allen has died at age 65, complications due to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He's been the owner of the Trailblazers for 30 years. He also owns the Seattle Seahawks. He's as the owner of the Blazers, he made 23 trips to the Western playoffs, 2 NBA Finals appearances, and this is from one of Woj's tweets about it. He was a relentless advocate for Portland, the Pacific Northwest, and small market NBA franchises. Ladies, what were your reactions when you heard about Mr. Allen dying today?
I was pretty shocked by the news, very saddened by it. I've always admired the kind of owner that he's been with the Trailblazers, kind of definitely involved and encouraging and at the games. And so his presence will definitely be missed.
For sure.
Yeah. It's I don't know much about him, and you know, anytime someone passes away, you kind of feel like ashamed. You're like, oh, I wish I would have known more about this person that meant so much to me now. You know, it means so much to me at this moment. But it just seems like he was a wonderful man and did a lot for the community. And yeah, I just my heart goes out to his family and everybody at the Trailblazers organization that's worked so closely with him. Twitter was that's all that was on Twitter today. So.
Yeah, it was, I've been around Portland for a really long time. And as I was sitting down to work on the podcast tonight, I realized that, I'm working on my Windows PC and getting ready to record a podcast about the Trailblazers and how much of those activities are because of Paul Allen. Like what I am doing right now is so much a result of what he did, and that's only like a small fraction of what he did while in his life, founding Microsoft and owning the Trailblazers and the Seattle Supersonics were like, or not did I say the Supersonics? I meant the Seahawks. Those were, a big deal, but he's also done a whole bunch of other things, like you said, in the community. He funded he pledged $100 million to fight the Ebola virus back in 2014. He has pledged $30 million to housing Seattle's homeless. He has just done a whole variety of things that are just reflective of his interests and also his concern for the community. So yeah, it's a shocking loss. I mean, we knew that he was sick again, but I don't think really anybody realized how sick he was.
No, I mean, his last tweet was 2 weeks ago, and he was just saying that it had come back, and his doctor was hopeful. So, there's a lot of support under that tweet. But yeah, it just seemed to happen so fast, and it was very unexpected. I'm sure it's going to affect the feeling of the game on Thursday for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and it'll be interesting as we wait to find out what happens with the team too. But We'll leave that to another time and just kind of right now just sort of reflect on how much he meant to this community and how lucky we were to have an owner that stood by them for such a long time and really saw them through thick and thin, stuck with them when things were rough, and enjoyed some success, but also stuck with them through some of the tougher days. Not everyone would do that. Well, with that, I think let's go ahead and turn to our preview of the Western Conference, because games, actually, we're recording this on Monday night and games start tomorrow. Blazers don't play for a couple of days, so we have a few more days to do the very last bits of research that we want to do to get ready. But for now, let's start by talking about the teams that the Blazers will play in the Western Conference. And Cassidy had the awesome idea of going in the order of when the Blazers are going to play them. So who goes first? Let's see. Cassidy, starting with the Los Angeles Lakers. Do you want to give us a preview what you learned about the Lakers this year? They have some new player on their team. I can't. What's his name?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he's famous
Lance
or something.
Stevenson.
Yeah, and I think Rajon Rondo, JaVale McGee, very famous from his appearances on Shaq a Fool. But LeBron James has made his way to the Lakers, and as a Portland fan, I'm somewhat infuriated by it. I grew up hating the Lakers so much, so to watch this it hurts, but at the same time, I think that it will also kind of reignite the rivalry between Portland and LA, because it's just been sad beating them so badly lately. So that's going to be something that comes from this. I think that LeBron has proven time and time again that he can carry a team to the playoffs, and I think that this team is slightly better than his team last year in Cleveland, which is a little bit scary that they could possibly be making it pretty far up in the playoffs, but I question their ability to actually make it once they get there. I'm expecting them to mix up their rotations quite a bit in the beginning of the season just to get used to all the new players and how they're going to work with the youngins. And it'll be interesting to see how players who do have experience like Caldwell Pope react to other players coming in with similar levels of experience or years, I guess, But they've been through the playoffs and through other kinds of experiences that he has not gotten to experience yet.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What do you think, how long do you think it will take for them to gel?
I think it's going to be at least a month.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to take at least a month for them to get some of the rotations set. And I think it could take even longer for them to really gel together, if that ever even happens. I don't know. I don't know if all of their young components fit in with this team. So I don't know how well Lonzo Ball works with LeBron on the court, and I don't really know how Ingram fits into this team as well.
I was just going to see if you thought that LeBron was going to automatically take on this team and kind of carry it on his back like he has been used to doing, or if he's going to try to assimilate with some of the veteran players that have been pulled onto the team with him.
I think he's going to try to assimilate at first. I just don't know how well that's going to be as the pressure gets more intense and he gets closer to the playoffs. But I am really interested to see how this works, especially between him and Lance Stevenson. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, the ear-blowing little flirtation thing that's been going on with them has been enticing. So I'm excited to see that as well.
Must-see TV back in
Yes.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
What was their record last year, Cassidy?
They won 35 games and had 47 losses last year.
How do you think they are going to compare? Do you think they're going to make? I guess do you think they're going to make the playoffs?
I do.
Okay.
I think it depends on how big of a role LeBron wants to take, but I think that is definitely an option.
How bad do you guys think it would be if they didn't make the playoffs?
I mean, I think it would be amazing as a Blazer fan, but
Yeah, it would be nice to have everybody who's saying they'll make the playoffs just because of LeBron just kind of realize, oh, maybe it takes more than one player to do something in the West. You know, he's coming from Cleveland. Now he's going to be in the Western Conference. It's a little bit different over here.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that I mean, the thing that stands out to me about LeBron's addition in Los Angeles is that he signed a 4-year contract. So he's clearly in it for the long game. And so, I mean, I see that as a sign that he's trying to really build something out for the future and that it might take a while. And I mean, I think he'll probably make the playoffs, but I think it would be fascinating if he doesn't, because I think a lot of people think that he would completely fall apart if they don't make it to the playoffs. And I think he would be absolutely, I don't know, I'm not going to say fine, because obviously he wants to win, but I think that it wouldn't derail it wouldn't make him like get mad and leave. I think it would be he would be like, okay, this is going to be, we're in this for the long game. We're in this to build.
Yeah. I think
something.
The only real reason for him to get extremely mad about not getting the playoffs this year is I think they need to prove to the other All-Stars that could possibly be coming there next season that they do have the room for, that this is something special to come to.
Yeah, I think this year is going to be a lot about next year for the Lakers. Oh, we forgot to do the walk-up song.
Oh, well, none other than "Holding Out for a Hero" by Bonnie Tyler.
Does anybody get bonus points for singing the walk-up song?
Oh, wow. Go ahead. Go on with your bad selves.
And he's got to be larger than life. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night. Nice. And they found possibly their hero.
Very true.
Well done, Cassidy. All right. Anything else on the Lakers? We don't need. Everybody else in the whole world is talking about them. We don't need to dwell on them.
Yeah.
You want to go next, Alex?
Sure. Yeah. Let's talk Spurs. Spurs, I think they come up on October 20th. So that'll be the Saturday after the home opener on Thursday. Their walk-on song for me is the Montage song from Team America. Yeah, so it's just an all-encompassing Montage song because they've got some work to do. Obviously, Kawhi is gone. He was traded along with Danny Green to Toronto. That was a wild time. And then Tony Parker went to Charlotte to join his French brother, our boy Batum. Manu retired, and DeJounte Murray just tore his freaking ACL in a preseason game versus Houston. So I'm going to fully blame this on James Harden. I don't know if he was even on the court when it happened, but I'm blaming him because it just makes sense. Yeah, so they've got some work to do. So basically who they have left now, not that it's, not that these guys aren't nobody, but DeMar DeRozan, Patty Mills, Rudy Gay, Marco Bellinelli, Pau Gasol, Lonnie Walker, and then some guy named Lamarius Albright.
Poor LaMarcus. You still haven't forgiven him, huh?
Aldridge. Yeah, I mispronounced his name. Yeah, so it's basically up to them and Pop, of course, to save, what used to be one of the most consistently dominant teams in the Western Conference, and see if they'll do anything in the playoffs this year. Last year they were 47-35, so the exact opposite of the Lakers. But Vegas is predicting 42.5 wins this year. So worse than last year. I mean, which would be understandable. They lost a lot of people, even though Kawhi had, issues last season and wasn't playing for a lot of it. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to this team. It was weird. Looking them up, I'm just like, I don't know how these guys are all going to do together, but I guess we'll see. I just feel so bad for them because of Murray tearing his ACL. Oh,
they are thin in the backcourt. That is.
Yeah. It's rough. So yeah, that's the Spurs. I basically just looked at like where people went and then who they have now. And I can't make any predictions other than that.
So next to Kawhi, who do either of you think is the biggest, like going to be one of the most impactful lost player next to after Kawhi?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm kind of thinking Manu, just because he was so the character of the team. I mean, the team didn't have a lot of character to begin with. I mean, they're good, but they're kind of, boring in the way that like really good teams might be boring, consistent, reliable, all of that stuff. But he just kind of had a little peppy, little bit of a heart. He was, I don't know. He was the most interesting one for me to watch. And I don't know how much that translates. I don't know, how the other players felt about that. But for me, for just the watchability of it, I think he's somebody that I'm going to miss a lot on that team.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And he was a veteran. And I think that, after Duncan left, you need the kind of veteran leadership on the team. And him leaving, I'm not sure if that like breaks that down a little bit. I know Pop is all the leader you need, but maybe, there's a different level of it with Manu. So.
Well, and then to lose Parker as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Parker too. So I'm like, they just kind of, and now it's almost like now LaMarcus is the most veteran.
I think Patty Mills and then LaMarcus.
Yeah.
Of course, the Portland player. More Portland players propping up San Antonio. You're welcome, Spurs.
Yep, keeping you alive.
Okay. Well, unless anybody has any other questions about the Spurs, Cassidy, how about the Rockets?
Well, the Rockets, I have for them that I would put their walk-up song as So Close by Hall & Oates. And I feel like the lyrics, so close yet so far away, just make so much sense for them. I mean, they believed in tomorrow, though they're stuck in today. And the reality is they should really be letting the pain of last year's loss fuel them this year. Chris Paul's a year older, which is not good given his injuries in his past. I mean, maybe he's due for a year off from getting hurt. But I feel like Carmelo Anthony is a good addition to the team if that can work out. And I think that's a question that I definitely have. He's going to have to be a much more efficient shooter and a smart shot taker because he's not going to get the touches he's gotten at any other location and any other team. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that all works out.
So they had the best record. They had the best record in the league last year, right?
Yeah, 65 wins, 17 losses.
And, the year before when the team from the Bay Area went on that run and they had the best record in the league, they pulled it back because I think they thought that they spent too much getting through the regular season trying to have that great record. And so they pulled it back a little bit last year. Do you think Houston and 65 wins is a reasonable goal for them? I mean, how much do you think at this point, how much do you think the regular season matters to them?
I think it matters to the extent that it gets them to the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
I think being in a good position when you get to the postseason, but I think not only meeting that high win record last year, but also after Harden winning the MVP, I think it gives him a chance to maybe relax slightly and focus on getting all the way through the season with energy to spare so that he can make it through the postseason, because we've seen him have waves in the postseason of energy.
Mm-hmm. Then came the 27 missed threes.
Oh, yeah.
That was incredible.
Yes, that was amazing, actually. But he can't keep doing that. But if he wants to keep doing that for Houston, he can, in my opinion. He helps the Blazers out.
It sounds to me like neither of you are fans of the Rockets, or would even entertain saying that you were fans of the Rockets. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, definitely not a Rockets fan.
Yeah, no. Even though Patrick Beverley doesn't play for them anymore, I still have bad feelings
it doesn't
about
loosen
him.
your heart anymore for them.
Yeah.
I've been mad since Clyde went there as a kid. I cried for like a week and a half, so I don't think I'm over it.
Oh, poor sad Cassidy. My sister lived in Houston when Clyde moved to Houston. So they think Houston's great, and she thinks Clyde Drexler's great because she thinks Clyde Drexler is a Rocket. And I just that's one of those things that the family just doesn't talk about. It's best.
I can't imagine your Thanksgivings.
I know, it's best to just avoid that conversation. Cassidy brought a really good point, though. I think about all the pressure last year was to win the MVP, and I think one thing that I don't know, I've noticed it this summer. Like, people have already are anointing either Giannis or Anthony Davis the MVP, and it's like, could we play the season first, please? Right? Before we say who the MVP is going to be. But I think you're right. Like, it puts extra pressure, because not only does he have to play and help his team win, but now he's under all this pressure to win this award that they're ready to hand him. And if he doesn't win it, then he's screwed up even more.
The preseason's it's too early. I mean, obviously, if we're going off preseason, then, Myers Leonard is our MVP. Mason Plumlee is the Nuggets MVP. It's like, okay, let's get some games under our belt before we start talking about this.
Well, and they were talking about it in July, before any basketball had been played. People were like, well, yeah, this is going to be Giannis's year, and if it's not Giannis, it's Anthony Davis. And I was like, wait a minute. But I am totally on board. Yeah, sure, why not Myers Leonard? I think, actually, though, he's going to win. He's going to be the first player to win Sixth Man of the Year and Most Improved Player in the same year.
Oh, dang.
We can hope.
Yeah,
we can only hope.
Well, media can drive these awards, and I'm anointing myself media, and now we have Alex as part of the media. We can make this a story. We can make this happen. Speak it into existence.
Myers for Sixth Man.
All right. Well, speaking of Anthony Davis, how about the Pelicans, Alex?
How about him? I mean, I'm not going to lie.
Those darn Pelicans.
Blocked them out of my memory from last year, so had to dig up some facts. But I don't know. I had trouble with the walk-on song. I went with Robin, Dancin on My Own. And I don't know why I went with this. I feel like it's because originally when I picked it, I was thinking, it's just Anthony Davis. But upon further research, I mean, it wasn't just Anthony Davis that wrecked us in the postseason. So I should probably take that back. Because remember, Drew Holiday was, he was there. So that wasn't fun. But basically, last season they were 48-34. Obviously beat us in the first round. Vegas is predicting 45.5, so not much different. Maybe, a little worse. Yeah. probably because they lost Cousins to the grossly inexperienced but hopeful up and coming the Golden State Warriors. And then Rondo obviously left in free agency to join the Lake Show. So some of their kind of, seasoned vets were gone. But, I mean, Cousins was MIA in the playoffs against us, if I remember correctly. He was...
he was out since, February or January. He'd been out for a long time. Yeah, so he was kind of a non-factor anyways. But probably not going to be the same in Golden State. I'm sure he'll do something over there. But in all of these moves, the Pelicans acquired Alfred Payton at point guard and then Julius Randle as a forward. And then I don't know if you guys know much about Jahlil Okafor, but he has kind of been passed around the league a little bit since being drafted to the 76ers. He was then passed over to the Brooklyn Nets, and basically he's just kind of widely regarded as this underwhelming guy who had so much potential but just has not done anything with it yet. So he still exists on the Pelicans. Whether or not he's going to be a factor, off the bench, it has yet to be seen. So I don't know. I mean, that's just going to be a weird team. I don't think them beating us in the first round really said anything positive about them or, as much as it was negative about us. But maybe that's just my perspective. But yeah, I don't know. So it should be interesting. I think Anthony Davis has some help. He's got some players, but it was another shakeup for them too, like it was for a lot of teams in the Western Conference in the offseason. So, Cassidy, what do you think about the Pelicans this season? What do you think about that? 45.5 seemed low to me, but again, you're so right, Alex. It could just be because we're we got beat by the Blazers got beat by a really good team, so they should have a higher number for over/under for Vegas. Yeah. But I would think that they would at least be at the same level that they were last season. What do you think, Cassidy?
Yeah, I think that's that's a weird number for them, but I am excited about the Alfred Payton pickup from them to see how that works out. Because I think him with Anthony Davis could be fun basketball to watch for sure.
And now that we can see his face, because he cut his hair, and he won't have the hair blocking his free throws, he should have a good year.
Yeah, the possibilities are going to be endless for him now that he can see.
Yeah, he'll be like, why didn't I do this sooner? Well, and as I recall, Anthony Davis and Mirotic had looked really nice together last year as they were beating the Blazers, as all the people that I was standing around when I was watching the games were like, Blazers could have had Mirotic, and it's like, oh my God, stop. But they were a lovely combination. I'm really curious about what happens with Anthony Davis, though, if he sticks it out there or if he leaves. I
don't know what his contract is. He almost up?
Yes, I believe he is. I'm going to check that right now.
He's unrestricted in 2021, it says.
So he's got a couple more years.
But I think that he may be restricted at some point as well.
At the end of next year? Is he restricted?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, it is coming up. I believe it's right before Damian Lillard. So if he's not up next year, he's one of the few people who is not up next year. I'm trying to find his contract. Way down at the bottom. Transactions. Okay. Okay. Oh, he has 2 more years after this. I was totally wrong.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So 2021 is a player option. So there's definitely this year and next year, and then he can pick up that last year if he wants to. But now with players asking for trades, that's always a possibility as well, too, I guess.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to watch anyway, whether or not it's sooner rather than later, whether or not Anthony Davis decides to stick around New Orleans.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to morph into the Timberwolves, Alex? Oh my gosh, we have 3 of you in a row.
Goodness gracious. We're going to do anamorphs. We're going to anamorph into the Timberwolves from the Pelicans.
I totally pictured that in my head, what that would look like.
I know, right? The cover, the holographic cover.
Oh, so cool.
So cool. So the Timberwolves are just a beautiful train wreck right now. So it's just so wild. But my walk-on song, just to keep it spirited and light, is Stephen Stills' "Love the One You're With." That's aimed towards Jimmy Butler. Obviously, he's got some issues, as it's been made pretty well known at this point. That he wanted a trade, although he was denying that he asked for a trade to the Clippers. I'm not sure if he finally came out and said, "No, I did," or not. But apparently he wanted a trade to the Clippers, and then there was talk of him maybe going to the Heat, but the talks with the Heat have died.
Which includes supposedly Pat Riley calling Thibodeau names. We've got to get that in there.
Yes, there's been
using colorful language.
Yep.
Which you're doing a very good job of, Alex, because when you were talking about prepping for this podcast, you said you were looking forward to a chance to practice not swearing, and you're doing an amazing job.
Because evidently I'm not allowed to curse on live national television, which is news to me. It's just, it doesn't make any sense, but I will abide. I will abide. Yes. So basically what happened was Jimmy Butler decided to show up to practice, and he kind of ran a train over the starters with the bench players. Is that your understanding of what happened? Just to say he could and did?
Yeah, I don't trust any of this story.
I don't know who it's coming from or what. I know a lot of it was like, some people say it was staged. Did he admit it was staged? I was trying to...
Rachel Nichols was waiting for him after practice with her little ESPN desk all set up outside. So somebody called her there, and he went to go. But okay, I want to know what you guys think about this. So part of the thing that was reported from Woj was getting, I guess, like updates from inside the practice facility or something. I don't know. But anyway, apparently one of the things that Jimmy was doing was that he was yelling at the owner, "You bleeping need me," which I think is a very strange thing to yell if you want to be traded. Like, if he wanted to be traded, don't you think he would have like shown up late for practice with like candy bars falling out of his old sweats and just been like, blah, and like shown like no effort whatsoever? Like, why would he be yelling at the owner like, "You need me," when he wants to be traded? That makes no sense to me.
Maybe he feels like they don't want him.
And he's just like saying, "See ya on the way out."
Maybe he feels overshadowed by what he believes to be a lazy star in Karl Anthony Towns. I know he's got some anger toward him for like not caring about winning as much as him or something. From like what I was reading, he doesn't think he's trying as hard as Jimmy Butler wants to try to win. And he's kind of just coasting on this like, "Oh, I'm this awesome like rookie kid." You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe he really didn't want to be traded. He just wanted to be appreciated, and that's why when the rumors came out, he denied them, because he's like, "No, I don't want this. I just want to be here, but I want to be appreciated." I mean, I don't know. I'm speculating.
I think according to him, he told the organization that he wanted to be traded, but he did it a long time ago and they didn't do anything. And I think what he was denying was that he wanted to go, that like he only wanted to go to like the Clippers and the Nets and the Knicks, who were like the strangest combination of three teams that you'd ask to be traded to.
Yeah, that is really strange.
Who wants to go to the Knicks?
I mean, maybe a guy who thinks he can do something with a team that like everybody's all but forgotten about. You know, maybe he wants to be the star and he doesn't feel like the star when Karl Anthony Towns is there.
Yeah, I'm super curious to see what happens, and super curious to see if he leaves how Karl Anthony Towns does, because I think people are imposing a lot of ideas on Karl Anthony Towns and his work ethic and his how much how hard he wants to work and how hard he wants to play. And I haven't heard much from him or his camp like to respond to this. They seem to be just kind of keeping out of it. But like, there's been, they're kind of dragging him, like media reports are kind of dragging him. Like, indirectly through it, because they're kind of just saying, well, Jimmy says that he doesn't play hard enough. Like, is anybody speaking up on Karl Anthony Towns' behalf to be like, actually, I'm an NBA player and you don't get to be an NBA player without putting in a certain amount of work. And I'm sorry, Jimmy, I'm not exactly like you, but like, people are different. We don't.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything from Karl Anthony Towns except for him flipping out after getting bodied by the Bucks the other day in preseason. That was where all that Giannis highlights came from, was that game, I think, against the Timberwolves, right?
Oh, yeah.
So he was mad that they just didn't put forth much of an effort, or we can't play like this in regular season, or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't heard him comment on the actual Jimmy Butler stuff. I mean, maybe I'd be scared of Jimmy Butler if I were him. Like, dude, I'm not saying anything about this guy. Like, just let him go off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So do you want to morph your Timberwolf into a Clipper ship?
Yes. And what is a Clipper? Can we, like, talk about this real quick?
Cassidy, do you know what a Clipper is?
I know that it is a boat.
Yes, I believe it's some sort of a masted ship. I don't know. Maybe all ships have masts. I don't know anything about boats.
What an amazing mascot. Just
I know. Yeah,
I don't know
they
why
have like
just a boat.
They have like that. Is it like a bird or something?
Yes, I think it is. And it should just be a man in a boat costume.
Yeah.
I mean, can we just be a little more derivative, please? And just kind of ride that wave?
Or just a boat.
That's what I'm saying. Just a boat. Oh, not even a boat.
Not even a person. Just a boat. Really break the tradition.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. I get behind that.
They could build a moat around their new arena. That's what they have to do. Oh, I hope they're doing that.
And then they should sail off into the sea, because no one's going to watch them anymore, because the Lakers are the only team that matters in Los Angeles right now. Oh man. I mean, honestly, like, Blake Griffin is gone. DeAndre Jordan is gone. Austin Rivers is gone, which is extremely sad for me, because a huge portion of my content is making fun of Austin Rivers being a daddy's boy. So now I can't even use that. It's very upsetting to me. But I don't even, like, honestly, my notes here, it literally says, ultimately, who cares about the Clippers? It's all about the Lakers this year. Like, I just had nothing to say. Oh, but I do have a walk-on song for them. This is mostly in jest, but it's Leanne Womak's I Hope You Dance. Because whoever's on there dancing, I just hope they do it. Whatever they're going to do, if anybody's going to watch, I just hope they try, and I hope they feel like they did the best they could. Because I am just so over the Clippers. Like, we had a nice little rivalry for a while there a couple of years ago in the playoffs. It was kind of like fun, watching those games, and like, oh, maybe I hate the Clippers a little bit. But after Chris Paul left and Blake Griffin was just like, meh, I don't know. The team is just not very exciting. Oh, JJ Redick left. You know what I mean? It was like, who even are the Clippers? And they've kind of been just slowly deteriorating since we played them in the playoffs. I don't know. Is it just me who thinks that?
Maybe we cursed them.
Oh, wow. Wouldn't that be amazing? I think that was probably it. It was all of Mason Plumlee's amazing assists against them in the playoffs. Last season they were 42-40, and Vegas is saying 36.5.
Oh, really? I didn't know they had them down so far.
They do, yeah.
I just think everybody should do well. I really need to like adjust my my rose-colored glasses, even for other teams.
I mean, I think maybe their predictions are a little bit skewed down because so many of the already really great teams in the West got even better in the offseason, and they're accounting for that. I mean, I don't know. That could be something, but
one of the things that I understand that the Clippers are doing is they are amassing a bunch of guys that they can talk about as like working men, guys, lunch pail guys who come in and work hard and leave it all on the floor, and there's no superstars. But what they've done is they've structured their roster in a way that a lot of their contracts are going to expire so that they could then get a superstar. So that they just don't have anybody right now, but over the next couple of seasons, as a whole bunch of these free agents become available, they ostensibly have will have enough room that they could sign some players. And I think that's one of the reasons that they said Jimmy Butler was wanted to sign there, is because they have so much room in the future. You can make a lot of money.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe they're just in a couple of rebuilding seasons. I mean, they have, they don't have nobody. Tobias Harris, Patrick Beverley went to the Clippers. He's a pretty good defender.
And he's back. Yeah, he was injured last year, but he's back now. I drafted him on my fantasy team.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he could do something for you there.
Not early or anything, but.
And then Lou Williams is kind of, I mean, they're considering him just, they're saying he's just going to come off the bench. But last season he averaged 22 points per game. So, I mean, he might help them out too. It's not like they don't have anybody. It's just, for me, the Clippers I once knew, it's not the same. And I guess I'm just not like watching them too closely because there's so much else going on in the Western Conference this year. So.
Alrighty, shall we move on to the next one, Cassidy?
Yeah. So Golden State, I'm sure you've heard of them. Coming off a 58-win, 24-loss season, and a championship. I think the expectation from everybody around the league is that they're going to win their 4th championship in 5 years. And I sure hope that's not true. They added DeMarcus Cousins, and he's coming off the torn Achilles. He's going to be reevaluated in about 4 weeks, and then they'll see what happens from there. This is the first time in NBA history that a team has 5 All-Stars from the previous year. So, on that note, we should talk about one of their major failures, and that is not having a mascot. There are only 2 teams in the Western Conference without a mascot, and Golden State is one of them. Can you guys name the other one?
It's not the Clippers.
Hold on. I should know this. I really should.
I have no idea.
No, I don't know either. No. I don't know who.
The Lakers. Unless you count Jack Nicholson. They do not have a mascot.
Oh man, that's just sad.
So, but they're spending so much money on Kevin Durant, they can't afford to pay someone to put on an outfit with a giant head.
Exactly. I mean, they had a mascot called Thunder until 2008, but then when the Supersonics became the Thunder, their mascot was no more.
Who I just started liking OKC a little bit more.
Yeah, so they got rid of their mascot. So they may have rings, but at least Rip City, we have Blaze. So
yes,
I'm holding that. And I believe that there are really 2 walkout songs for Golden State this year. The first one is the song that they believe they walk out on the floor to, which I think is the 1980s classic soap opera theme song to Dynasty.
That sounds so right.
And then the rest of the world, beyond their bandwagon fans and themselves, are imagining them to walk out to the Monstars theme song, Hit 'em High, from Space Jam. So I think the world has talked plenty about Golden State recently. So
yeah, I don't think there's I don't even know how many writers they have at The Athletic just to cover that team, but I don't think they need a lot more extra discussion. Do you?
No.
Okay, moving on from them to the Denver Nuggets.
The Denver Nuggets with my old boyfriend, Mason Plumlee. Yes, you heard it here first, folks. We dated. We definitely dated in real life.
Did you really?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, but I really wanted to for a while. Let's see. The Nuggets have the People's Champ. I mean, who doesn't still love Will Barton and cheer for him with everything he does?
I've not ever met a single person who didn't cheer for Will Barton.
No,
And he's on my fantasy team, so I have to cheer for him.
Oh, well, there you go. That's awesome. Yeah, so they've got Will Barton, they've got Mason Plumlee, who, I mean, with us, I mean, I know people didn't like him as much, but I always liked him. But he wasn't like maybe super productive for us consistently. But again, like I mentioned earlier, he's doing pretty well for them in the preseason. So hopefully it continues. It would be nice if he could do something and get some minutes, kind of like Jokic. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Jokic. Jokic is the guy that everyone thought that we traded Mason for when we actually got Nurkic. That was like a really stressful day and a half in Rip City because everyone was like, we got this guy. No, we got Nurkic. No, we got Jokic. And it was just like so stressful. And then we found out who we got. So that was great. But yeah. Let's see. Denver, also, the biggest thing that probably happened to them this off season, well, the biggest thing to me is they now have Isaiah Thomas on their team. I feel kind of bad for Isaiah Thomas. I feel like he's been bouncing around for a while, but I hope this works out for him in Denver because I really do like him. I don't know. I just like tiny little point guards. I've always loved them. I've loved Jason Kidd. I loved Allen Iverson. So I love Isaiah Thomas naturally. Let's see. Last season they were 46-36, so not too bad. They made a run, and they almost made the playoffs. I'm pretty sure Minnesota, or I think it was Minnesota that beat them and sent them home before they made the playoffs last season. Vegas has them doing better this season at 47.5. So we'll see. We'll see. Denver might do something. I mean, they did kind of in the last half of the season last year. They were kind of up and comers, and we were freaked out. I remember everyone in Portland was kind of watching Denver to see how they were doing because it was going to determine our place in the playoffs as well. So I would not sleep on the Nuggets this year. I think they might be doing big things.
Yeah, people are really enthralled with Jokic, and especially people from Denver. They really, really love him, and they add all kinds of superlatives around his passing ability and his like court vision and all that stuff. I don't know. I don't really see it, but I often don't see the most obvious things just because I'm super stubborn. And if somebody's pointing something out to me, I'm like, no, there's no way. No.
Yeah.
But
no,
yeah,
I mean, I think got the
really
better it, but who knows? We don't know.
He's definitely really good. They'll probably finally make the playoffs again this year, would be my guess.
Yeah. That is the walk-on song that I chose for them is Miley Cyrus's The Climb. Because, well, it's Denver, so, you know, it's a little bit of a double entendre. But basically, the elevation. And also, you know, just getting there. You know, they kind of were getting there last season, and I think they could do more this season. So I'm excited for them. I mean, not as excited for them as I am for my own team, but, you know, I hope they do well.
Yeah, I'll always wish success for the People's Champ, that is for sure.
Yes.
Okay, one of these is finally me. I chose all the ones at the very bottom. I didn't do it on purpose. But the next team up is the Dallas Mavericks, who last year finished the season 24-58. And their theme song, of course, is the theme song to the Dallas, the TV show, goes along with Cassidy's Dynasty. Probably people in Dallas are as sick of that as those of us in Portland are tired of the Portlandia comparisons. But if the Portlandia comparisons were accurate, or if the Denver or the Dallas comparisons are as accurate as the Portlandia comparisons were, then that would be pretty funny. I have to admit I've been watching a lot of old Dallas shows, and if you ever are like sick for a week in bed, you should go to the library and get like all the old Dallas shows because they're so entertaining, and that's a really great theme song. Anyway, Dallas is poised to get a lot better this year. They added Luka Doncic, who was the MVP in the EuroLeague and is only 19 years old, but he has 3 years of professional experience already. And they finally got DeAndre Jordan to come to their team after he almost came to them a few years previous. So they'll have Luka Doncic playing alongside Dennis Smith Jr., which should be pretty exciting. But the player that I'm most interested in on the Dallas Mavericks is, of course, Dirk Nowitzki. This is going to be his 21st year in the league, and that will make him the player who has played the longest with a single team for his career. 21 years is going to be the record for a player playing for a single team. He was drafted in 1998.
Wow.
That was a really long time ago. That was the same draft as Tyronn Lue, who, of course, has obviously now been a coach for a few years, a head coach for a few years in the league. Bonzi Wells was in that draft. Paul Pierce was in that draft. And very famous Mike Bibby was taken number 2 in that draft. Is that not hilarious?
Whoa.
Mike Bibby, the massive arms from Instagram this year. So I think Dirk hasn't said whether or not this is going to be his final season, but like just watching him try to run up and down the court last season, I mean he's still running a lot better than I could at 40, but it just to be able to keep up with all those other players, it's got to be really hard for him. So I hope that I like the farewell tour, so I kind of am acting like this is maybe going to be his last year, and this might be I'll definitely make sure that I get to go to the games in Portland because I want to see him if it's going to be the last time that he plays, because he's just an incredible talent. He's played, as of the beginning of this season, he's played 1,471 games. He's played 50,573 minutes. He's scored 31,000 points and gotten over 11,000 rebounds. So let that sink in. Wow. How long he's been around. So that's the most interesting thing for me for Dallas.
Yeah, for sure. I love Dirk. I'm going to be so sad when he leaves. I think we talked about this on the last podcast. Like, all these guys, Dirk, and then Vince Carter, when they leave, it's gonna feel like I'm officially old. Like, that's what's gonna happen.
It happens to the best of us.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Well, the next team up is the Phoenix Suns. Cassidy?
Phoenix. 21 wins last year, 61 losses, worst in the West after the regular season. But things are looking somewhat up for them. They picked up Ryan Anderson, Trevor Ariza, and today they signed Jamal Crawford. They also have number 1 pick DeAndre Ayton, which I'm really curious to see how that all works out with him. I want to watch out for his turnover rate. He averaged about 2.2 turnovers in the preseason, and I have a feeling that number may get a little bit higher as stakes get a little bit higher and people are caring more than they do in preseason. Also, their new head coach. I think this is going to be an interesting switch over. It's Igor Kokoshko, I believe.
Kokoshkov?
Yeah, I think that's how you say it. But however you say it, I'm excited to watch his offense. He favors a really fast-paced, high-scoring offense, which I think will be interesting with this young team combined with the veterans. And I'm excited to watch that happen. For their walkout song, I picked Nothin to Lose by Kylie Minogue, because really, they got to take a chance. They got to make a move. They got everything to gain, and they've got nothing to lose. So really, there's only up from where they can go from here. And I think if they can win 30 games this season, they got to look at that as a win for the season.
Yeah, I think that's a really great roundup of the Suns. You know, they do have upside, which is the first time in a long time. They don't have a point guard, but they at least have upside.
Yeah. it'll be interesting to see if they have Booker play like a Harden style point guard for them, but I'm wondering if he can do that yet.
I don't know. He seems pretty confident. Like he can do just about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next up, I have another one. Is the Memphis Grizzlies, who last year finished, I think, second to last and worst in the West. They had a 22-60 record last year, and the thing that stood out about them is the previous season they had a perfectly respectable 43-39. So that was a 21 game swing. A big swing for a team that was playing fine, and then suddenly everything just fell apart for them. Mike Conley was out. He's their one of their stars, and they traded away some key players like Zebo, who of course was getting up there in the years, but still meant a lot to the team. I have a lot of friends who are Grizzlies fans, and they just felt absolutely gutted last season. But they're another one like Dallas, who and like Phoenix, who does have some future because they had some high draft picks. The Memphis Grizzlies added Jaren Jackson Jr. with the 4th pick, and Mike Conley should be back and healthy. But my problem with the Memphis Grizzlies is I could not think of a walk-up song for them. And like, because it's Memphis, I didn't want to screw it up, because it's Memphis and they're like the music city, and there's so much a deep musical history there that I didn't like want to screw it up and like pick a bad song. So I'm open to suggestions if either of you have good songs for the Grizzlies. Otherwise, maybe we can just, out of respect, leave them without a walk-up song unless like somebody from representing the franchise can pick it up for them.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. I know what you mean.
Yeah, I feel like I'm stumped.
Yeah. I don't want to screw that one up. I wanted to do something about like, about looking for a bright future or being on the rise, but like we're not quite sure how it's going to turn out yet because they still have some questions. They still have Chandler Parsons and his really big contract, and he hasn't played well in the last couple. He hasn't played at all like himself in the last couple of seasons, or if he's played at all. So there's still plenty of questions on their roster. But it could be looking up. I don't know. Hopefully for all my friends who are Memphis Grizzlies fans, it'll look up for them, but not for the except when they play the Trailblazers.
Yeah, no. I mean, doesn't Justin Timberlake own the Memphis Grizzlies?
I think he is partial owner for sure.
He's partial owner. Maybe it's time for him to step it up.
Yeah, he could come up with a theme song for him.
Yeah. Maybe it should just be a Justin Timberlake song.
Yeah.
Take back the night. How about that for Memphis? Just take back your team. Do something fun this year.
I can get behind that. That works. Should we move on?
Yes.
Yes, let's move on.
Cassidy, you're up with the Utah Jazz.
Well, Utah is looking a lot like Utah looked last year. They have pretty much the entire returning lineup from the previous season with the addition of Grayson Allen, which is going to be everybody's new favorite player to love to hate, which I'm excited to see how that all plays out. The Jazz picked up Crowder late last season, which I thought was a really good pickup, and I'm just going to see how well he plays coming into this season because he had a good end of the season last year. Mitchell's now going to have a whole year under his belt, and I think that will help him just stabilize his game even more and get even better. And I feel like Dennis Lindsey's done a really great job with this team. After the Gordon Hayward loss, I wouldn't have thought they would be in the position they already are in this season to do pretty well, but I still feel like they're going to be stuck in the middle. And that's why I chose their walkout song to be Stuck in the Middle with You by the Steelers Wheel. I feel like maybe it could be a song that Portland and Utah share together a little bit this season. Let's hope not, but I feel like it could possibly be the case.
That is a great pick. I think a lot of people are really high on the Utah Jazz right now, but I don't know that they have enough talent to challenge the team from the Bay Area. I think they have enough talent that they could maybe make it to the Western Conference Finals, but I just don't think that they can beat them. But yeah, that's a good song though. I like it.
Yeah, and I don't know if they could even make it past Houston this year. It would be an interesting matchup though, and I always like to see Gobert play well, and so hopefully he has a really good season.
Yeah, I do like him. He's fun to watch.
Okay, anything else on the Jazz? Because I got a real doozy of one coming up here.
Let's do this, doozy.
Okay, the second to last of all of the teams that the Blazers will see in order this year are the Sacramento Kings. And I was gonna say that their theme song was gonna be the Game of Thrones theme song, and I had this whole elaborate thing where they were like the Boltons, and like it was just all like very elaborate. And then I was like, okay, that is not fair. It's like not like the Kings. I admire the Kings fans so much for being Kings fans, and every time I watch one of their games I think to myself, there but for the grace of God go you or I, like you know, like the other night when they were losing so bad, they were getting just absolutely hammered by somebody, and the score was like, you know, 39-10 or something, and the team account tweeted out a picture of it, but they put like a little censored thing over the score, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody was laughing at them so much, and like, oh, that was funny. And I just kept thinking, oh my God, I remember sitting through a quarter where the Blazers only scored 9 points against Toronto, and that was only last year. So I kind of feel like if I make fun of the Kings, I'm kind of asking for it for the Trailblazers. So I'm going to take a step back and just say about the Kings, there but for fortune go you or I, which is an old Joan Baez folk song. And it's just something for us to keep in mind as we like laugh at everybody else and what's going on with them, how quickly things can change for us, and how lucky we are that the Trailblazers are in the stable situation that they are right now with a leader like Damian Lillard. So I didn't really read much into like who's on the Kings right now. I mean, the other night we watched the Blazers play them, and we watched one of the guys with 3 names. Was it Willie Cauley-Stein? Who's the guy with 3 names who plays
Willie Cauley-Stein.
It is Willie Cauley-Stein. We just watched him like dunk over and over and over again on the Blazers or whatever. So there's that. But one thing that I found out about the Kings that I did not know, which I'm excited to share with you, did you know that they are actually the oldest team in the league? They are the oldest continuous professional basketball franchise, dating all the way back to 1923, well before the NBA even got started.
Wow.
Did you know that? I know. I didn't know that. They started as the Rochester Seagrams, and I don't know what a Seagram is, so talk about, I don't know what kind of mascot that is, but they started off as the Rochester Seagrams in 1923. They joined the National Basketball League, the NBL, in 1945, and then the Basketball Association of America in 1948, which then became the NBA. So they don't have a huge upside at this time, but they have a lot of history, and I think it's just really good for us to respect that history and to just keep in mind that things can change in a moment, and we could be suffering some devastating losses if it wasn't for just a couple of GM moves or, you know, just random things that happen to the Sacramento Kings. I don't think the Portland is really that close to being the Kings, but, you know, we could have thrown our lots in with a team like the Kings. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
You got to give them a little respect, at least for carrying on.
Yeah, and they have a great social media team. Their Twitter is pretty freaking awesome. We have like a tete-a-tete with them, so I like them. I'll never wish bad things upon them.
Their alternate jerseys are beautiful, and they apparently have a really nice arena.
Oh yeah, because they rebuilt it.
Yeah, it's just a couple of years old.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's really funny because my husband and I are just started this thing last year where we're trying to go watch a basketball game in every arena. So we just started last year. And as we go and ask people, like, where should we go next? People are like, oh, Sacramento is a great place to go to a game. And we're always like, what? But they're like, yeah, it's really great. The hotel's right there. That's a great arena. And Portland always wins. So, like,
Hey, upside.
maybe we'll try one of those. So that is my piece about the Sacramento Kings. And the last one that we have to cover is also mine. The last team that we're going to see this year is the Oklahoma City Thunder. So significant adds for this team. Okay, so last year they were 48-34. And significant adds were they re-signed Paul George. They added Nerlens Noel as a free agent. And then what some people call addition by subtraction, Carmelo Anthony found another place to play. So a lot of people talk about Carmelo Anthony kind of disrupted what they could have had going in Oklahoma City. And so my choice for the song for OKC is Stand By Your Man, because I think Paul George re-signing in Oklahoma City to be with Russell Westbrook was just kind of like, you know what? We like what we have going on here, and we're going to keep it going on. We think we're good enough. We play hard, and we're a small market team, but we're popular here, and we're just going to stick together. So that's my song for OKC. Oh, also another fun fact that I learned about OKC is that Russell Westbrook and his wife are expecting twin girls. They're gonna have little twin babies. So I always love it when there's an addition. They had in People magazine they put out a really sweet video of them playing with their little 16-month-old, and then his wife Nina is gonna have twins sometime. I think this season probably. She's probably that far along. So imagine like 3 little Russell Westbrook babies. I just imagine them
So
like
fashionable.
just totally miniature Russell Westbrooks just like tearing around their house.
Those crazy outfits. Oh, I can't wait.
In amazing patterns.
Yeah.
Ah.
Well, also one more thing about Oklahoma City is they have a rookie named Hamidou Diallo, who was a second-round pick. He was the number 45 pick. He was traded twice on draft night, and then he finally signed in Oklahoma City Thunder, and he had a really great summer league, and he was one of the better players at summer league. And so it's always kind of fun when you have like a second round pick who really makes an impact.
Yeah. Was he out of Kentucky or?
I think so. Yeah, that sounds right. So that wraps up all of the teams that the Portland Trailblazers will face in the Western Conference. We obviously didn't talk about Portland because we talk about Portland all the time. Do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap it up here?
No, I'm just excited. Let's start the season.
So excited for basketball to be back. So excited to watch NBA basketball again. Definitely.
I know. I am excited to watch actual games because I've been watching so much footage from stats.nba.com where you can watch like the same, like all the Al-Farouq Aminu rebounds over and over and over again. And I'm looking forward to watching a whole game end to end.
Of course you're watching Aminu rebounds over and over again.
Yeah. Of course I love him.
I know.
I love him so much. I've watched other things too, but when I need to cheer myself up, I'll go watch Aminu rebounds or fast breaks.
There you go.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining me and doing this Western Conference preview. Let's see, Alex, why don't you remind folks where they can find you?
Yes, I am on Twitter and Instagram at Owlhix, OWLHIX, and catch me on TV, I guess.
Soon to be 7:00 on NBC Sports Northwest on non-Trailblazer game nights, correct? And
yes, indeed.
On your on the Facebook page.
Yes, it'll be streaming live on Facebook at the same time as well.
And Cassidy, are you still holdout no Twitter account yet?
I'm still holdout no Twitter account. I'm sure that will be broken soon.
We'll get you on there and then you'll be hooked. Well, I can be found at TCB Biggs. You can follow the What Podcast on @Hoops and Talks on Twitter. You can subscribe to the podcast in the Blazers Edge podcast feed. The What episodes come out every other Thursday. Thanks again for joining us, and I hope that we have a great season.
Whoop.